As a veterinarian for cattle, a big part of my job is checking on the cow's pregnancy. These are beef cattle. They live out on the range and they are brought up once a year to get preg-checked by me, their veterinarian. The cows walk up one by one and enter the chute. This is a squeeze chute, meaning the cow can walk in and then the sides of the chute can be squeezed down on her. That tight pressure actually helps relax them so they're not scared. It also helps keep us, the people, and them, the cows, safe. It restrains them for the procedure, which, as you can see, is very quick, and then they are quickly let go out to pasture with their herd mates. We also can give the cows their vaccines at this time. Cows that live out on a big pasture don't often interact with people, so they have to be handled a little bit differently than dairy cows. Cows are still cows, and they have the same instincts. However, if they are not worked daily and they're not around people daily, they are more wary of people, and that can be dangerous for them and us. So instead of just putting a halter on them or checking in on their pregnancy as they're eating their breakfast, like I could a dairy cow, I have to bring them up to this chute, which will restrain them, and then I can check them there. I am inserting a probe, an ultrasound probe, into their rectum to scan their uterus, which sits just below the rectum. And there I can see the calf and see the pregnancy and make sure everything is healthy. Cattle are prey animals, and they're not used to being around people naturally. So if you want them to be used to people, it takes a lot of training. Think about bringing your outdoor cat to the veterinarian, for example. As a vet, I've worked in small animal clinics, and cats that are used to being free out on their own and are not used to a carrier and are not used to being handled a lot and are not used to being restrained and are not used to being at a vet's office are very scared, and it can be quite dangerous. These cattle are like that. It doesn't mean that they're being mistreated at all. It just means that they have less interaction with people, and we need to restrain them a little bit differently than dairy cattle. The reason these cattle are beef cattle is because of their breed. This is a mixed group, but they are all beef breed cows, which means they have been bred to make high quality beef. You can see that some of them have horns and some do not. All cattle have horns naturally, male and female, but some breeds have lines within that braid that are called polled, meaning they genetically do not have the ability to grow horns. That's something that we have selected for because it makes it safer. But many breeds and lines of cattle still do have horns, whether male or female. Some of these do not have horns genetically, and some of these do not have horns because they were dehorned or disbudded as younger animals. This means that the horn was removed by people to help keep them safe in facilities like this one. I don't show it here, but as soon as they get released from this chute, the head gate opens up and the squeeze loosens, and then they are free to run out to the pasture. They have acres and acres and acres to roam, and all of their herd mates are out there as well. Cows actually learn the other cows in their group, and they establish a social hierarchy. So they know their herd mates, and they each have a place in the pecking order. As their vet, every time I come to the farm or ranch, I'm not only assessing pregnancy, but I am also monitoring their vaccine protocol and status. I am looking at their body condition, meaning how fat or skinny they are. I am looking at their manure. I am looking at their eyes and their heads and their faces. I am checking for any lumps and bumps. I am looking for pink eye, warts, ringworm. I am also assessing the facilities as well and the handling of these animals. That's a really big part of my job as a veterinarian. And I enjoy working with good clients that really value animal well-being on their operation. Though this squeeze chute may look industrial and scary to some people, this is a very common way of handling animals, whether you have one animal or you have 1,000 animals or you have 10,000 animals. Using a squeeze chute is a very good way to handle beef cattle like this. You can see I just lowered one bar in order to reach this slightly smaller cow. It's important that we are working around the cows and keeping them comfortable. They're big animals, and for their safety and ours, we are using the facilities properly and properly restraining them. These cows were out with a bull for several months, so they were allowed to mate if they chose to. And then I am coming in to check and see if they did get bred and if they did get pregnant. But it is totally up to them. A cow's cycle is 21 days, so she will ovulate every 21 days, and behaviorally at that time, she will be accepting of a breeding, whether it is by bull or by artificial insemination. But then it's important for us to check on the pregnancy, make sure everything is healthy and proceeding as planned, and also to make sure that we are giving her the care she needs in her stage of pregnancy. You can see the goggles I'm wearing on my head are ultrasound goggles. So as I insert the probe into the rectum, I'm actually looking into the goggles to be able to see if she is pregnant or not. I work with all types of cattle, so this is a good example of working with beef cattle, but I also work with dairy cattle. More often I work with dairy cattle, which looks like this. Here I'm doing the same procedure, checking on the pregnancy, but this cow is eating her breakfast, just lined up with others. We don't typically need a squeeze chute for dairy cattle. Do me a favor and hit subscribe if you want to learn more about vet life, dairy, or beef.